Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Natalie Boehm, and I'm the president and founder of the Defeating Epilepsy Foundation. We are a 501c3 in Southern California, and our mission is to provide the advocacy and educational services needed to the epilepsy community and our society. Today, our guest is Stacii Floyd. Stacii is a music producer and engineer. He is also the founder of Brainstorming Epilepsy Festival, which helps to bring the community together and help those who are battling epilepsy. Thank you, Stacii, for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. How you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Despite battling epilepsy, many can establish careers and live a productive life. Many people with epilepsy, including myself, have become entrepreneurs and established their own business due to the high levels of discrimination we face in the workforce. People with epilepsy deserve the opportunity to have a productive life just like others. Stacii, can you tell us what drew you to wanting to write music?
Well, I've been writing and singing for a long time. So I went ahead and got my degree in recording engineering at a Dallas Media Tech Institute. So that was about 2008. So that's when I really took it seriously. And I hadn't looked back ever since. I mean, my inspiration comes from all over the place. So I've been doing it forever. So it was just about time for me to master the craft.
Oh, that's awesome. You released your album Hearts almost a year ago. You wrote the song Roll the Dice, which you tell what it is like to have epilepsy. Is there a particular part of the song that you feel others can relate to?
Well, when I wrote the song, I had a lot of things in mind. I really wanted to express it through music because for some reason we're all like musically inclined. So that was like one of the bigger steps to advocate for me because I do music. So it felt right in line. How it affects everyone. I'm sure it affects everyone differently. I've had good reviews, bad reviews, but all in all, I think it really told a great story of what is going on right now. Like as far as the lyrics go, it's just my point of view. I mean, you don't have to have that point of view, but that's pretty much my point of view of how epilepsy works, how we're treated, different things as far as the video is concerned. I'm pretty sure that different actions that I did in the video were kind of self-explanatory of what we all feel, but we're just a little bit nervous to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. I do agree with you. Well, I'm going to show our viewers a clip from your video, and then we'll talk about your video. So I'm just going
to... Open up your eyes. Do you get the picture? To you I look cool, but me I kinda differ. Hospital visits, doc said I'm getting sicker.
Is to control seizures with medication. There are 30 FDA-approved medications to prevent seizures from epilepsy.
The Lord didn't tell me about my life in this description. Every other day they got me on a new prescription. Trying to be quiet, trying not to be a victim. They see you as a pawn with your medical condition. Ain't no money in the cure, they get paid off the visits. Invisible position, so it's time to find a remedy. Keep my hopes high, cause I feed off of energy. People still believe in me, so I gotta give my best. Cause it's kinda bad for my health when I overstress. Yeah, I move different, but they don't really see that. People barely living their lives, they don't see that. On my knees every night, thank the Lord twice, cause even with epilepsy, still gotta roll the dice.
Okay. No, it's a very powerful scene. There we go. But I have to say that scene, when you push all those medication bottles off the table, it just shows the frustration because of the treatment. And I'll be the first to admit, there's times I did not want to even comply with my treatment because of the side effects that I was dealing with due to the medication. What has been your experience in having to take anticonvulsant medication?
Oh man, it's been a roller coaster ride. First of all, like I say in the song, it's just like they kind of want to make you a guinea pig as far as I'm concerned with different medicines and try this, try that, try this, try that. And even in the video, if you guys do see the whole video, it kind of has like a documentary inside of a documentary of what's going on. So it's one of the longest diseases that we don't know anything about. So this is going on since the beginning of time, Michelangelo time, way before us, way before us, and probably going to be way after us. But as far as medicine is concerned, like I said, I've been through that phase, and like I just get with my doctors. I let them know, look, I'm not trying to tranquilize my life. I still got stuff to do. I still want to live, even if I don't. If I'm not totally seizure free, I do want to enjoy life. So
Oh yeah.
we definitely got an understanding on that. As far as with my primary doctor. And I just got switched to a new neurologist today. So hopefully they're a little bit better than the ones that I've had thus far. So we're still on the hunt, and most definitely I can get back with you and let you know about that.
Oh, well, fingers crossed. I hope that it goes well for you. And I can relate very much to the frustrations and feeling like you're being treated like a guinea pig. It took over 20 years for them to figure out how to control my seizures. And in between that, I mean, it was a nightmare. That's the only word I can use to describe it. One moment, I'm over medicated. The next moment, I'm having terrible side effects that are making me suicidal. The next moment, I'm on another medicine, and it cut my white cell production in half and almost killed me. PTSD, night terrors, you name it. And it's even now, even though I haven't lost consciousness in 16 years, I think where my frustration is, a lot of people assume, oh, you're not having seizure activity, so you're normal now.
Right.
There is nothing normal when it comes to epilepsy. I still feel the side effects of it. Since recovering from COVID, I've gotten weaker. There's a lot of days where I have to lie down and nap. My anxiety is at really high levels. I feel like my medication's not working when it comes to my anxiety and depression. It's gotten worse. My night terrors have come back because of COVID. So I love that you bring up the fact that what a trial this is for us, a life of trial and error, just to try to have some level of normalcy. And even when we do reach a certain level of close enough to being normal, there still really never is a normal for us.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. There's no normal for us. People don't understand. This is my largest thing that I have with people who don't have epilepsy or non-epileptic, whatever. They don't understand that I can walk like you and talk like you and do different things, but my body might react to something. You're like, why are you tired? Man, my body's like, no. So, I mean, listening to your body as far as epilepsy is great too. But like I said, most people just kind of look over the fact that, he can walk and he can do this and he can do that. Well, hey, like you just stated, hey, I might got to go lay down for a couple hours and get it back together so I can, push through to another 5 or 6 hours, which I'd be doing, working or whatever. So the thing is I guess it's like a catch-22, if that makes any sense. Like,
oh yeah, it does.
But 1 minute they think you're regular, then the next minute they're like, well, why come he can't work? Well, certain conditions, you can't work under. And I guess that's why we're here today, and we can kind of advocate for different for epilepsy, and we can advocate that most of us are entrepreneurs. So
yes,
we have to kind of I'm not saying we need to stick with that, but I've heard so many stories of people working regular jobs and they had to hide that they have epilepsy. They got to hide. It's just don't tell my boss. I remember this one lady fell out in the grocery store and she said, don't tell my boss that I just fell out. I said, I wasn't going to tell your boss because I understand what you're going through. But wow, you have to hide from your boss. And she was like, if he finds out, I'm going to get fired. So these are the kind of things that we're fighting against when it comes to this. And people don't understand that whatsoever. Somebody
Yeah.
might off in another situation. They might have a different seizure and they're at work. And I don't think there's any preventative care or a solution for that problem in the workforce. So, we have a long way to go. I'm just happy to be able to get my 2 cents in there and try to help out as much as I can.
Yeah, and I agree with you how much we have a long way to go in the workforce. Myself, I hid my seizures for it wasn't until after 13 years of having my seizures under control, I decided finally to come forward. And I hid it for many years for that exact reason. I thought if I lose my job, I lose my medical benefits. I lose my medical benefits. My meds at that time were $1,000 out of pocket for all three. That's a
Mm,
death sentence for someone like you and I. A lot of people might think, well, go on Medicaid or go get some. Epilepsy is one of the most difficult things to get assistance with. It takes people many, many years. And when in my situation, pretty much it's if I don't take my medicine, I die. I can't get around it. That's how lucky I've been to get what I had under control because I've had multiple different types of seizures. But for many, that's not an option to, oh, okay, we'll just be in between jobs. And another thing that I think people don't realize is, yes, we have the Americans with Disabilities Act in play. Yes, there are protections put in place, but those are federal protections. There's difference between state and federal laws, like here in California, where you and I are. There's a fire at will policy. Many people who are employers will put that clause in their contract that they can let you go at every time and they don't have to give you a reason. So they
right,
may they may fire you for having epilepsy if they find out about it. All they have to put down is, you know, you're not a reliable employee. We need you to do this and you can't do this. So I'm sorry, we have to let you go. And really
right.
what it might be is, oh, that person has up, oh, get them out of here. I don't want a liability like that around. Now, how do you prove discrimination with laws like that in place?
Um,
Very
to me,
difficult.
yeah, to me, it's kind of more of a political thing, and that'll be probably something I can talk about maybe in the next 10 years. Something when I hop into politics after music, but that's definitely a political thing to start enforcing this knowledge that we're collecting right now. Like I see a lot of people worldwide, as you know, we're worldwide with epilepsy. So we have like watches and service dogs and all types of things that can help, but we don't have them in place. We don't have them in place like some other areas that I know, even in the United States. We
Oh,
don't
absolutely.
we don't have those in place out here in California, and I'm sure a few other states as well. So that's kind of where our work comes into play, and our awareness of that situation comes into play. It was something I was running by a few representatives here for California, and I got a real good response, but I don't think they fully understand what's going on.
No, I don't think they do either. I mean, I've reached out and I have to follow up. I reached out to my senator's office about the seizure first aid law because they've failed a couple times to pass it. It hasn't made past the House here in the state of California. And I've talked to a couple people and they've addressed the issues of what's stalling it. But even, talking to people and sharing my stories, I don't think people really grasp the seriousness of if we're really going to make a difference in somebody's life who's battling epilepsy. I hate
Mhm.
to say it, it can start as early in the childhood. I look at the school systems and I remember myself, I've had epilepsy since I was 2, and going through the school system, I had teachers, I can't say I didn't have teachers who didn't see my potential. I did have plenty of teachers who did, but the mentality was because of my health, they assumed, you're going on SSDI. Eventually your parents will put you in assisted living. You know, where are you going to go with this? I don't think any of my teachers saw that eventually I would get an MBA, that I'd be able to own my own home, be married, have kids, be able to drive, be able to support myself. I don't think anyone saw that in me. I see they saw me as just someone who eventually was going to go in an assisted living home and be property of the taxpayers.
Right. Right. And that's a lane that every doctor tries to steer you down, as far as today is concerned. I was in that same battle with one of my neurologists. She just told me, this was a few years ago. She just told me, well, you're not going to be able to work a regular job. So it seems like you need to start your own business, or you need to get on, you need to file for Social Security. I said, well, wow, I can't work anymore. Is there any jobs that I can do? Oh, no. I'm like,
Ugh.
okay. We didn't try. We didn't even try. We just counting me out, huh?
Sounds like a former neurologist of mine in Buffalo. You know,
Right.
first it was just get on disability, and then it was my husband at the time was working on his PhD, so he wasn't allowed to work in private practice. That was part of his agreement through the NIH. He was getting paid to do the research for the university, and then what he had to do for 3 years, he had to either work at a university himself, a community clinic, or had to go into the military, or else he would have had to pay the degree back, and we're looking at a $200,000 degree. So in return for taking a much less paying job or contributing to community causes, the university paid for this degree for him. And the doctor kept saying to me, why don't you just tell him to go get a side job? Just go get a side job and take care of you. I said,
Wow.
I finally got in with my, for goodness sakes. I go, you're in academics, you're in clinical. The same thing he's doing, you're just doing in a different field. You know, getting grants that he can't do that. You know what you're asking me to have him do, he can't do. You've been there. And of
Right.
course, I got the attitude for it. But it's just, had made up his mind so much as someone like me shouldn't be integrating in society. He thought he could play me and try to get me to take a different route so that people like me could go away. And I thought, no, I'm too smart for those mind games. Thank you, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
But in one part of your video, you talk about the neurologist saying, oh, we just mentioned this actually, you will never have a regular job ever again. And you said you felt like you had your heart ripped out. Trying to establish gainful employment is a great challenge for individuals with epilepsy. Can you tell our supporters the challenges people with epilepsy face trying to survive in society?
I can go down the list. Okay. If they tell you that you're going to be on Social Security, the trick about this is me and you, we live in California.
Mhm.
I don't know if the viewers will know, but they will now. It is very expensive to live in California. So basically, they're not going to make sure that you have a home. They're going to kind of make sure you're outside. So therefore, you're still going to have to do work, some form of work, some form of something to keep up with, your rent and your all this other stuff you got going on. Another thing is I'm allergic to heat. So I can't work out and I can't go and do manual labor in the heat. That'll trigger everything. So I can't work in the heat. There's just certain little things, triggers, things like that you need to be watchful for. But as far as that's concerned, I think the best advice she ever gave me was just start your own stuff. That was the best. That was the best advice she ever gave me. I ran with it, and I'm here today. I told him, hey, I wasn't gonna never stop, so I didn't. So I mean, what else can I say? But just think above.
Oh yeah.
We're here. So that's kind of how I think about it. Is it's more of a like I said, once again, it's like a catch-22. It's like, all right, if you do that, then you're going to get this result, which is not a very positive result, or something that's going to make you work harder to accomplish all the stuff that you have, at least here in California.
Yeah. Well, no,
And
and you bring up a very valid point about cost of living and stuff, because myself growing up in Buffalo, New York, what I would pay for a house to rent a house there, it's 3 times it in California. And I'm actually in one of the areas of California that is not as expensive. I'm not even in the LA area like you. I'm in the San Bernardino County, Rancho Cucamonga area, which
right,
San Bernardino taxes are a lot cheaper. The rent, but the rent out here still, I was very lucky. I bought my home when all the foreclosures were still in place and the house had been empty for 2 years. So I was able to manipulate a really good deal on my house. I mean, I literally could not afford my house today with cost of value and
right,
everything that's gone up with the recovery of the economy. No way could I buy my house today. And that's scary with my husband having 2 doctorates and working in a university setting that even something like that, we would be more aiming towards a condo or something if we had to just go and put a payment down. So it shows how hard, it is for even the average person to live. Now I was researching the average check for SSDI for somebody is about $1,259.
right,
My mortgage is $1,500. How can
right.
someone and to live in some of these apartments, it's $1,200 just for the rent out here, anywhere from $1,200 to $2,200. How is someone with epilepsy going to be in a home? I mean, it sets you up for homelessness.
Yes, it does. And I don't think that, like I said, that goes back to our politics. And that's something that we really, really need to bring to the table, bring awareness to the table about that, because a lot of people love LA. A lot of people have been here their whole lives, and they just unfortunately have this diagnosis, and they're trying to live with it. And like I said, I see it. I've said this in many videos. I like to refer to it because Skid Row is one of the most popular places in America.
Yes.
Everybody wants to talk about it, but nobody wants to go down there. So I was thinking, okay, well, these people, they don't get medical care like me or you would want to go to the doctor every month or every other month or whatever, however we choose to.
Yeah.
They're a victim of their circumstances. And I just thought, what if a lot of people are, dealing with mental health, epilepsy, just totally off the wall different things, and they're never going to get attention because it's just Skid Row. They're like, it's just Skid Row. They'll be all right as long as they're down there. It'd be okay, but that's not okay. That's a total disregard of human life to me.
Oh, absolutely. And I do agree with you on that. In fact, not too long ago, because of the gentrification in LA, particularly areas like Echo Park, it has driven even more people to homelessness. And was it in the LA Times? Of course, I can't remember exactly where I read it. They had in Echo Park a homeless community. They were setting up tents because they really had nowhere to go, and they were at the point where they didn't want to sleep under the interstate anymore. And
Mm,
they were thrown out. There was a massive protest, and the police came and told them pretty much, take your tents down, get your stuff, and get out. And I don't think people realize so many of those people who are there are not there because, oh, they don't feel like having a job. It's like you said, a lot of mental illness, which has led to drug addiction, alcoholism, to self-medicate because they can't get the help, or conditions like diabetes, epilepsy, schizophrenia, a lot of neurological and psychological disorders taking place, and there's no outlet for them. And
right.
also, I think what a lot of it is I've had people say, well, Can't they go to the ER and get help? Can't they just go get their medicine, have them help them get in the shelter? Well, I can say from a personal experience, from a patient perspective, there's been times over the years I've been so sadly mistreated by some doctors and nurses, not all, but I've run into sadly some bad apples. And pretty much there isn't a person I haven't met with epilepsy who doesn't have like that one story that really helped. And I think the medical people and other people in society who are not dealing with conditions like this don't realize once your trust is shattered with the healthcare system in America, from the lack of care to the cost of meds to so many things, once that
Right.
trust is shattered, the attitude is, well, why am I trying even anymore? That's
Right.
why I love the name of your song, Roll the Dice, because I feel like living with epilepsy, that's what we're doing. We are rolling the dice, and are we going to get the numbers we need that day? Or are we going
Right.
to get a bad set of numbers and boy, it's just not going to be nice.
Right. We're gonna crap out. And
Exactly.
and we gotta pick it up again and roll them again. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you don't uh Lord forbid, but if you don't pass away or anything, then you got to get up again and do it again. So like the whole fear thing is just it's beyond me, but I understand it because I know I had to go through that same battle as you and
Hmm.
just be like I have this, you guys, and I want to be the one to speak up and just say, hey, I got it and I'm with you guys. Not to
Yeah.
be like I'm bragging about it or anything like that. It's just I want you to feel as open as I am about talking about it.
Hmm.
Unless we talk about it, we're not going to get too far with it. So I mean, if we don't have like a backup system or something like it, even with the whole political thing, like if we don't have enough voices, then it's just like me and you are a voice, and it's like, well, we didn't change anything, or we're all out for change, and I know they are too, because I mean, I've read several posts and several different things, and we have a day and we have a month that collides with another month. It's just so weird with our whole situation. It's just I really want to get to the bottom of this and kind of figure out who we can talk to kind of make any kind of a change or any kind of research or any something that can help us, like um the dogs being one of the top of the list, a place where we can get help. So stuff like that could really come into play and help us out.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
um that's just my thing, and I just want to work hard to get to that point.
Oh no, and it does take time. It really does, which is on one aspect, it's not surprising because of the journeys we've all had. But at the same time, I find it incredibly frustrating. I look at other organizations, and I'm not saying they don't do work. They do great work. But I think where my frustration is with the organizations who are claiming to represent our community, I keep hearing about a cure. We're working towards a cure. We're researching for the cure. Well, what about the here and now when you have people who can't get their condition under control? Their children who are dealing with this, who are being discriminated against throughout school, being told they're not capable of things. The high school person the student who graduates, and all of a sudden, well, yes, you have epilepsy, but you don't have seizures enough to be on disability. So you can't get disability. So figure your life out. And you've been told all your life you're not capable of something. Now, all of a sudden, you're supposed to put your big boy or big girl pants on, be an adult, and make magic happen when you've had no guidance, when you've been isolated. And then they wonder why we have the problems we do. And it's because we're not addressing these problems from the beginning. We're not operating in the here and now. I mean,
Right.
I hope before I leave this earth, I see a cure or at least better treatment, better quality of life at least. But at the same time, I look at all the reasons that epilepsy can happen. You can be a genetic mutation. You have it from birth. It can be like my situation, a traumatic brain injury. It can be a brain tumor. It can just come on at any time in life. And there's a lot of times they don't even find out the reason the seizures are happening. So the chances of me seeing a cure in my lifetime, I'm not holding my breath, I guess is the best way to put it. I'm not expecting a magic wand, but at the
Mm.
same time, I applaud them for trying. But I
Well,
would hope that they could see both sides of the coin, that just aiming for one piece of the puzzle is not going to solve the whole issue.
no.
This is a puzzle and we got to address all the pieces of it.
Oh yes, we definitely got to address all the pieces of it. Me personally, I'm with you. I think that we will definitely see progress in the right direction. But as far as change, like where we're really on a road to success with our mission, um, more than likely, I have so much hope for us, but I really do want to see it. That's how I'll end it off. I
Yeah.
really see that because that would be so positive. Like you said, you've been having them since you were 2. I had mine when I was 3 months old and went into a coma. So I mean, I definitely want us to get a hold of it, get a grip of it. Because I mean, when I had mine, that's about 85. So 85, they were nowhere close to 2021. I mean, we know a little bit more than we do in 85. So,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
and it's still not enough. It's still not enough. We still haven't even scratched the surface. And that's over 20 something, 25 years, 30 years now. Like we still haven't resurfaced or found anything that surfaced to really help us, except for the whole I go back to it, I'm so sorry, the whole guinea pig situation. It's just, that's why I knocked over those bottles in that video, is because I've been through so many things with this, with the doctors and the neurologists, and I remember the first time that they really diagnosed me with it, and he didn't think I had them. So it took for me to fall out in his office for him to actually take me seriously. I said, "Sir, something is wrong. I know something's wrong. I don't feel the same as I was 2 weeks ago. I don't feel the same." And he was, "Oh, well, you'll be all right. Just take these pills and this and that." And I was like, "Man, here we go with these pills. I don't need any pills. I need you to help me. What do I do? Do I calm down? What I'm asking you triggers right now. Like, what is going on? Like, how do I avoid it, or how to just shut up and take this medicine?" So,
Boy, that sounds like my doctors over the years. I had one who would look at his watch and look at me like this, like, you're getting close to the end of the time, hurry it up. And then the last one, I finally had to leave them, told me that this is all in my head. And I'm thinking,
mm,
well, I think after 40 years of living this, I think I do know it's in my head. Where else is it supposed to be? But it's like you hear things like that, and just the lack of compassionate care is where I think my frustrations is. I mean, I don't expect, to have my hand held, but at the
right,
same time, recognize that we're human beings, even though we have a neurological condition. But I think what's really I've found since advocating the research I've done over the years, I think when it comes to doctors, there's too few epileptologists in the United States. We don't have enough resources to specialists as people battling epilepsy. But I also think when you look at neurologists, where I normally don't have a lot of empathy for doctors, but I actually do in this situation, meeting with a lot of the neurologists I have since advocating, a lot of them, their focus is things like brain tumor, stroke, Parkinson's, MS. Not many have a focus on epilepsy. So when they have a patient who comes in who is epileptic, and they really don't see cases like this on a regular basis, it is a challenging case for them. It is a challenging patient. And with the complexity of epilepsy, I have found at times just listening to a doctor, you can
Right.
tell from the nonverbals, you're asking something or saying something, and they really don't know. But
Right.
the ego or they have to have this image of, I'm trained, I'm knowledgeable, I know, not that I know it all, but I got it together. I find there's so many doctors who are not willing to say the words, I really don't know. And that's when I hear the, oh, it's all in your head. Oh, be quiet and just do what I told you to do. Just be quiet and take the pills and follow up with me. And
Yeah, that's
I think that's what it comes down to, is we just don't have enough training. I can't even point to the doctors. I'm starting more and more to slowly point to the academic system more.
yeah, I definitely agree too. Train young. Uh, I was talking to somebody. He said his friend used to have seizures when he was in school, and he kind of halfway knew what to do and didn't, and it was like he halfway didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I said, no, if we had training in schools, let's just say from elementary up to high school or something like that, like they would know a little bit more than what they do know as of right now. Like if I had a friend, let's just say I met somebody the other day, shook their hand, hey, how you doing? And didn't tell them I had epilepsy and just had a seizure right in front of them. This has happened before. They're going to freak out.
Oh, yeah.
They're freaking out for sure. You're not getting no rollover on your side and all the stuff that the seizure first aid. You're getting, oh my God, he's shaking and they're shaking. They might pee their pants. I don't know what they're doing. I'm out of there, so I don't know what they're doing. I just know that my best friend told me. He said, "Man, you scared the life out of me."
Oh,
Sure,
well,
he thought. And I was like, no, man, actually, I'm pretty here. And ooh, that didn't feel good. So,
no, I know what you mean there, because that's been something I've discussed with doctors, some of the doctors I've interviewed and some of the other professionals. I like how you bring up the fact that not everybody knows, turn on the side or everything. But what I think is so important is when it comes to things like seizure first aid or the education of what people do when they have a seizure. I would like people to realize it's not a one size fits all. Like someone will have a tonic-clonic and they'll shake. Me,
right,
I have complex partials. I'll mutter, I stumble, I can't follow directions. I have no
right.
idea I'm doing it. The best way I can put it is I come off drunk. Like I just did a few shots of tequila and I'm about one step from hitting the floor. And of course, I don't get the enjoyment of doing the shots. I just get the after effect. It's the best way to put it.
You just get all the
Yeah.
symptoms, none of the great side effects of it, huh?
Exactly. So, I mean, and that's what I think scares me, because if you would see me, if let's say I had one in public, people are going to think I'm under the influence of something. They may not even call an ambulance. If, depending on the environment, they may call the police. The police aren't doctors. They're not going to realize it's a complex partial. They may tell me, you need to sit down, you need to do this. I can't follow. And I've
Right.
I've talked to a couple people over the years who had complex partials like me, and one of them, she's like, "Yeah, I've woken up a couple times in a jail cell." I'm like, "Wow." Well, she goes, "Yep." She goes, "They told me what to do. Of course, I couldn't do it, and I regained consciousness in the jail cell." And she goes, "There were no charges. Everything got dropped." She goes, "But yeah," she goes, it's a frightening experience to wake up in a jail cell." I said, "I bet it is." And thankfully, she survived.
Mm.
But it's scary that sometimes it comes to that. But you and I have shared stories on our frustrations when needing to receive care. One story you told me was about having to go to the ER to get medication. Can you
Right.
tell our viewers what it is like to have to go to the hospital hoping to be able to get the medication you need to live?
Okay. So I went through this for a year and a half when I first got here to LA. Uh, trying to find a good primary care doctor. So when I got here, my medicine was already halfway gone. So now I have to go search for medicine. So going to different hospitals, people kind of treat you way like you're lying. First, they can treat you like you're lying because, yeah, I mean, you're coming up there, oh, I have epilepsy and this and that and da 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 da. But you got to remember that we're fighting a lot of other things as well. We're fighting people who are lying about what they have, and some of these things, like I hate to get off subject, but some of these things I can kind of understand, but then again, I don't because I have it. So, but anyway, back on subject, like it's really hard. It's really, really hard. It's a hard feeling to have to explain to a emergency doctor that, hey, I don't have any insurance right now. I don't have a primary care doctor. I just need some medicine to make it. Because if I don't have this medicine, I'm not going to make it. And some have compassion and some don't. So, but I think about 85% didn't have any compassion at all. I think I met one lady and I would always go to her. She told me her times of when she was there. And she said, if you need any medicine, you might want to come during this time when I'm here.
Oh, thank goodness.
So
That's a guardian angel right there. Not enough of those.
yeah. So then I've seen people fall out. Like I said, we talk a lot. So I've seen people fall out and they don't do anything. Like I've been at a hospital, doctors walked over him, just stomped over him. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This dude just started shaking for real. Like it's not a partial, it's not none of that. It's straight chronic. It's there. He's doing that number. And I'm like, oh no, like don't pick him up, but kind of show more compassion of what's going on with him. Like he just came in here. He was already looking bad as it is. And he just told you that he had epilepsy. He just told you that he feels like he's about to have a seizure.
Oh my gosh. You think they would have at least given him an injection of Valium, something to suppress the seizure? And, I hate saying sedate them, but in situations at times you have to, and just did what they could. They couldn't get him back there right away. Brought out a pillow, turn him on his side, give him a pillow, put a blanket on him, and told people leave him alone. And then told the people up front, if something happens again, come get us stat. I mean, I understand the lack of hospital beds. I understand the sadly so many hospitals are understaffed. So I mean, if it was a situation like there's absolutely no beds, I get it. But at the same time, I can't imagine stepping over anyone, seizure, any type of complication. I can't imagine walking past them, keep going, and not have any remorse for it.
I thought it was the most realistic time because I'm going through the chase of medicine all the time, and just to see that, I was just like, well, thank you, Lord, because somebody could have walked over me.
Yeah.
Like I could be him. I could be him right now. And they don't know that, but I could be him right now. He may have just ran out of medicine. He may have just got sick and it just influenced a seizure, right? Fast. Boom, he's in the seizure mode. We don't know pre-existing condition he was in before the time. So I was just like, wow, people don't even get to know the true diagnosis of anybody. Like they're just going off of, all right, well, why are you here? Oh, okay, well, you got a fever, go sit down. And this is pre-COVID. This is not,
wow.
This is pre-COVID. This is before all of this madness started happening, that I was going through these things. So I'm glad that the US is opening their eyes to a lot of things. I'm glad that we can be a part of them opening their eyes more to this particular situation, because I feel like this has been a pandemic for a long time. I felt like we've been looked over for a long time, and I feel like we're coming close to a awakening point of this. So all we just got to do is just keep pushing forward, and we just need more people to step out and just on faith and just let people know that, like, I have this, and I'm standing for the right thing. I'm standing for what's right. The people that don't have a voice, the people that don't have a voice will be motivated to have a voice if you have a voice.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's just
it's a true. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
that's wonderful. Like, I just feel like that's where we're at right now in society, is we just need more voices. More voices will definitely get us farther than us just sitting here talking about it. And I know little smaller chat rooms, little other things like that, but voices, like people who want to step up and go, hey, I have epilepsy, and I'm not scared to fight the fight to help with the pandemic, because I'm calling this a pandemic until we start getting things in order.
I
Because
agree with you. I'm glad to hear someone else say that, because I've thought that and thought maybe I'm exaggerating my mentality, but no, thank you for putting it that way, because our community has been in a pandemic for way too long.
Exactly. Most definitely. It's been to Michelangelo days and all that. Come on, man. We have a pandemic that's been going on for hundreds of years now. So what's the deal here? We're not focusing enough on, what the research or anything like that. But as I read and I get more in tune with the epilepsy community, I'm starting to see that not a lot of dollars are going into our cause of what we have and what we've been diagnosed with. So that's maybe something we need to address. Like you said, we need to get people in there to have a little bit more compassion about people who have seizures. We definitely got to get people in there who want to see you healthy.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think one thing we need to work for to get that done, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I reached out to a gentleman who has epilepsy, and he works for the American Psychological Association. And I asked him about, some of the work I do. I said, why really aren't there a lot of articles about mental health and neurological disorders, particularly epilepsy? And he said, really, the funding is not there, one, but two, there's not, just because of the lack of funding, people aren't dedicating their time to research about it, because they know the chances of the work getting published or their work getting supported, sadly, is very, very little. And I wish that myself as an entrepreneur, we're trained to collaborate and work with other organizations to strengthen our cause and increase our chances of reaching our goals. I wish, I look at the academic community, such as neurology departments, psychology departments, all these things, bring them together and stop having walls up like, this is our turf, we do our little thing. I think if people in the academic, the medical community, all this could come together and create more of a team environment when it comes to research, I really think they could establish some really good evidence and advocate for more funding, showing, okay, it's just not a couple of doctors talking about this, but we've brought psychologists on to discuss this. So we have the physical aspect, but we also have the emotional, mental aspect of how this is going. I know they do to a degree, but my husband being academic, sadly, there's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of politics involved in it. I think if they could learn to tone the politic aspect of it down a little and increase the teamwork aspect, there's so much more they could do. I think they don't realize, with all the potential and education they have, how much more they really could do if they'd work together.
Right. And I don't mean to cut you off either, but I'm going to say something really, really, really blunt and real right now.
No
They don't
worries.
care. They don't care. I truly feel that in my heart. They don't care. So, like I said, it's up to everybody to speak up about it, and maybe you'll get some results. I'm pretty sure breast cancer wasn't the most funded thing when it started off, and they wanted, all these people to get behind that, but people got behind it because their moms were dealing with it, their sister, their whoever. I'm sure there's a small chance that men can get it. I did that research, but people were going through this, and as they were going through it, it just gradually caught on, like it was a snowball effect, and now they're one of the most highly funded charities in the world.
Oh yeah.
So it's the same way with us, because I talk to a lot of people who don't have epilepsy, but they got the cousin, they got the mom, they got the little sister, they got the brother, they got the father, and it's the same formula, I feel like, that we need to be taking to get this awareness out here. But the thing is they're comfortable telling their mom's story, but if you got it, you're not comfortable. That you have to get out of your shell to really just admit to yourself, okay, now I have epilepsy, first of all. Second of all, what am I gonna do to help make the awareness larger, so we can keep on making the snowball effect to where we can get that much funding and things like that, so we can get research and we can save lives, just like breast cancer, just like any other disease that's out there. That's kind of where I'm at with that one, because I mean, like we could definitely talk about the negatives, but I think we really truly have a lot of positives, because there's people like you in the world. There's people like me in the world. There's people that really do care about us as a community, because we are a community. It's 65 plus million people. So we're definitely a community worldwide. And I just think if we just collaborate together, we can make so many things happen. And they think it would take like plenty of years, but if we got together, we could do this in rapid speed, I think.
I think we could do. I think we could do more than people are willing to acknowledge. I'll agree with you on that. But you
Right.
have become a fierce advocate through your work and connections with the community. And what do you want to do to help the epilepsy community?
Well, I just want to be able to give a platform for different people with epilepsy, good organizations, to be able to promote the awareness. The awareness is very important. I know that we have neurologists, we have different people with degrees or whatnot, but I want to hear from the people who don't get heard. I want to hear from the people who are everyday like me, who had to sit down and actually think, I am about to tell the whole world that I have this.
Yeah.
And I want them to get out of their skin. I want them to be in a comfort zone to where they feel like they can come out of their skin. So that's my thing, is that's what we're creating at the moment, is just a platform for different organizations, different people. We just don't want to get too deep into the medicine part, because like I said, me personally, on my end, as kind of a guinea pig kind of situation that I feel like. So I don't invite too many, not to say there's plenty of good neurologists out there, and hey, this is not against you guys. It's just, I've had a bad shake of them. So I'm just speaking from my point of view.
Yeah.
I really don't want to involve them. I want them to be comfortable. I want them to be happy. And at the end of the day, I just want them to enjoy the day, because we might not be here tomorrow. We might be going through some form of episode tomorrow, but today we're here, we're alive, and we're all together.
Yeah.
And with the togetherness brings about the awareness. With the awareness brings about the change. So basically, getting everybody together so we could possibly open some ears and some mouths, so we can get that those different people that we want, the regular people like yourself, myself, to step up and just say, hey man, we got epilepsy and this is a problem. This is a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's a-
No, it is the truth, and I hope that I hope in time people won't be as afraid to speak out. And I mean, I won't criticize anyone who doesn't have the courage to speak out, because it would be very hypocritical. Because I was afraid for years. I was afraid for many, many years. If you would have said to me years ago that I would be doing this, I would have been like, "You're crazy. You're crazy. You think I'm going to do all this?" And even now, I'll be the first to admit, sometimes I look at this and I go, oh my goodness. Because I mean, I've had people tell me when they see, let's say, my LinkedIn profile where I talk about my organization, I share my story of why I've made this organization. I've had a couple of people say, do you realize how many job opportunities you probably lost acknowledging who you are? And I said, well, how am I supposed to do my work if I'm not real about it? Who is going to take me seriously? It doesn't matter if it's someone in business, if it's someone in medicine, their profession doesn't matter. If it's someone who has epilepsy or who doesn't, if I try to hide who I am, but act like, oh, on the side, I'm trying to make a difference, it doesn't work that way. Either you're out to make a difference or you're not.
Right. Right. And I totally agree with what you're saying, because, you know, well, you could have told me that, like, oh, you're gonna be this advocate and all that. I would have been like, what? Yeah. Next question. You know, next question. Not doing that today. What you say? You know, but yeah, like it's been the most challenging but most enjoyable thing that I've done thus far in my whole entire life, is because a lot of people are still nervous and they're still on the edge. I just compare it to this pandemic that we're going through it right now, but we're on the long-term standing point, you know, like we don't have vaccines and things like that to come save us and things like that to keep it down and all of that. But we are going through a pandemic, like we've been going through that. So, I mean, most of the things that, you know, we need to do is it's very in-house and very internal that we need to do these things. So, I mean, that's I mean, we can sit here and we can turn our, you know, I can talk till I'm purple. But at the end of the day, we definitely need more people to stand up for what they believe in. We just need them to, you know, first acknowledge that they got it. I swear I was shaking whenever I just admitted it online. Like I was online actually admitting this. So I know the world got to see that. And I was just like, I really don't want them to know this. But it was the most beautiful thing I ever did. It was like a weight off my shoulder. It let me be able to be me even more, so I could come out with heart CDs with Roll the Dice songs on there, and, you know, future songs with that, being comfortable with, you know, doing my music around that, being able to know that, you know, people actually listen. People are actually listening to, you know, the message that I'm trying to bring. And it's a wonderful feeling. Like I notice a lot of people think I'm raw with the message. It's just it's a raw situation, and I felt like that was the only way that I could get it across to everybody. And most of the people have been very receptive to it. I mean, I haven't found too many people that hadn't been receptive to it, because it's pretty much the truth.
No, it is. I mean, that's why I like the when I watched the video, I really did like it, because it was reality. And I think what people need to see is, I mean, how can I put this? The first time I saw someone else have a seizure, it frightened me, I admit. And I
Right.
have been having them all my life. So I can understand why somebody who doesn't have epilepsy, seeing somebody who is epileptic have a seizure, or seeing what it's like to be with them, why it can be so traumatic. But I feel if we can, let's say someone has an asthma attack. If we can have empathy for somebody who has to quickly grab their inhaler and try to get them comfortable, or if we have someone who has diabetes and we have empathy that they have to check their blood sugar and have to inject their insulin. If we can have empathy for other conditions, I see there being no reason why we can't have empathy for someone with epilepsy. But I have found that when it comes to neurological disorders, behavioral disorders, there really is an area of medicine that's still so stigmatized, and it has such an impact on the families, not even just the person dealing with it, but the family in general.
Right, right. I couldn't tell you how many times, especially when the 3-month-old, when I just talked to my mom yesterday about that. And I said, how did you actually feel when I was on the floor and I was twitching and then I went into a coma? She said, everybody in the hospital prayed that they were going to please take their life because he's only had dealt with 3 months of his life.
Oh, wow.
It just kept going on until about my 30s. And then it just was like, no, you got to take this medicine. You got to, in order for you to function, you're going to take this medicine. So, I mean, it's really it's a different trick whenever you're in front of people who don't know, or people who even know. Like I said, I saw that guy. I was like, yo, hey, he's on the ground. Hey, no, y'all come over here. Yeah. And I was like, I didn't know what to do, but I knew what to do. It's just, I'm at the hospital. That's your job.
Yeah, and that's heartbreaking. I mean,
I can't will him back there to the room. Like, I just know it, like the hospital. Like, no, I need you guys to come on. I don't need you to walk over him.
yeah, oh my gosh.
So I mean, it's a sad story. People don't even get it. Some people that I talk to who are like, they don't have seizures or they don't have epilepsy, they really, really don't understand. And the sucky part is people are in higher positions of hire, and you can hire somebody, but they don't know anything about this. Okay, well, you can go to school and things like that, and you still don't know anything about this. It's just, you really have to live with somebody or live with it to really, really, truly understand it. And then if you don't have it, you still truly don't understand it. So
Yeah.
it's very difficult to explain to people. It's very.
I found the ones who who don't have it but have a really decent idea, at least a good understanding of it, where they can at least show empathy, are the ones who are truly passionate about researching it. A gentleman who he just finished medical school and he's going to be starting his neurology residency this June. And him and I have talked plenty of times. He's been on my Meet the Contributor series a couple times, Dr. Singh. But he admitted to me going through medical school, he's like, yeah, we talked about seizures, but he goes, not where I would really understand what different seizures and epilepsy and everything was. He goes, I realized if I wanted to know about it, he goes, I had to specialize in something like that. And he, when he finished medical school in India, he came here to the US and he did an 8-week EEG course at Cleveland Clinic. And then he was for a year in Buffalo, where I grew up, working for Kaleida. And I didn't know it until I met him in 2017. One of the nonprofit organizations, of course, I can't remember the name. I think it's Oshi. I can't remember the last name, but the family was very wealthy during the industrial area time when Buffalo actually had money in there, when there was a lot of industrial work. And to this day, they still invest a lot of money into the city, and they gifted this money to Women and Children's Hospital to make the epilepsy monitoring unit, which, oh, when I found out, it beyond made my day. Because when I lived in Buffalo, there was no EMU. There wasn't a decent neurologist, pediatric neurologist team or anything like that. I mean, at the age of 2, I was put with an adult neurologist. I never
Right.
saw a pediatric neurologist. And all
Right.
he did was dope me up out of my mind. I mean, I think that's the most frustrating thing with my childhood was the first medicine I was put on was phenobarbital,
Mhm.
and I'm taking 90 milligrams, 30 in the morning, 60 milligrams at night, and the adult dosage is 30 milligrams. Now here I am, this little thing, 2, 3, 4-year old, doped up like this on 3 times the adult dosage, but I had to hear about what a horrible kid I was and what a difficult kid I was, how frustrated my parents and family were with me. They really didn't want anything to, they tried to keep their distance from me, but it's like, when you're doped up like that on a real nasty barbiturate and still having convulsions, how are you supposed to have any level of normalcy in your life? I mean, that's just how I look at it. And I think it's important I mean, that's why education is one of the things of my mission. We
Right,
we need to educate people because I mean our focus is on advocacy and education, and I feel until we focus on educating about our society about epilepsy and advocating for the rights of people, we're not going to see the changes we need. If you had to right now, what changes would you like to see now happen?
um me personally, I want to start with schooling. It's a real easy step. I don't like you said, we can't wish for it to happen overnight. So I'm not wishing for overnight. I'm just wishing for school.
Yeah.
The gentleman I spoke to his friend was in the 6th grade. They were in the 6th grade together, and he had seizures and stuff. And they said he used to walk home, he'll have a seizure, and they'll just sit there, and they wouldn't call the doctor. They wouldn't call the ambulance. Excuse me. They wouldn't call anybody. They would just sit there and let him shake it out and pick him up and drag him to his house
Oh my goodness.
because
How
they didn't know,
heartbreaking.
but they didn't know. They didn't know. They didn't know anything. So the educational part is definitely the first part that we can start because, like you said, me and you can advocate all day I'm purple. I can advocate. I can go out, what I'm saying, in my neighborhood. Hey, yeah, epilepsy, da 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 da. But until people know about it, like where kids are coming home, did you know that people have seizures? Do you know that, like the sponge kids? Okay, you got 5th, 6th, 7th. These are sponges still. They're still soaking a lot of information in, and that would be great for a health class or for maybe even a specialty class.
Oh
That
yeah. For health or even with when I took biology, the one thing about the teacher I had, we focused, it wasn't an anatomy physiology class, but he made it as close as he could with the level he had to teach it. And I mean, he really taught some very interesting things. And when I told him I had epilepsy, he actually talked about it. It was
right,
really interesting that he would do that. And I think I wish there were more teachers who were like that, who could have empathy for their students and in their own way be supportive of it. My doctor had given me a video, and I told him about it. I said, could I bring it in? And he showed it to the class, and there were scenes in the video where they showed people seizing. And even
right,
for myself, even though it was on video, and I had been, so God, had been having him for many, many years, it was scary to watch. I think people don't realize how scary it can be to see somebody seize. But at the
right,
same time, it's in order for our community to heal and move forward, we have to face these fears. Until we face the fears and help others, I feel we're not going to go anywhere. And I think that's where my frustration is, because I can get on here, I can write, I can do everything I want for my foundation. I could talk to them blue in the face, but if I don't get the message across, then I'm just talking, nothing else.
right. That's why I had if you ever get to check out Roll the Dice, the whole video,
Mhm.
then that's why I kind of made it so graphic. I really wanted to stamp and make a point. Like, people are hiding from this, what's going on. So I want to make a point right now. And funny thing is, if you go when you watch it, it's crazy at the end. So when you get to the end, that was my director's idea. He said, Stacii, what do you think about that? I said, perfect, 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 perfect. They need to see this. As graphic as we can get it is as graphic as we need to get it, because people think it's just a game. It's not a game. Somebody right now is having a seizure. Right now, at this point, while we're talking about it, somebody's having one. Like I said, it's been one of the more beautiful moments, because I've had the DMs and the inboxes. Man, I just had a seizure, 2 seizures. What do I do? I can't refer you like a, I can't do you like a PCP and be like, yeah, so you're having this, what's your problems, and da 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 da. All I can do is do what I've had to do, and which may, you might have a better neurologist than me. He might care, and you don't have these problems. But for me, I always knew that I had to come with this, because nobody cares. And you just like your doctor friend said, I would have had to go to a specialty. I would have had to specialize in epilepsy and things like that, because they're not going to just teach you that off of the bat, like to become a doctor. Yeah. So that's a void. Now doing that in college, I'm not sure, because people got different fields, this and that they want to get into as a doctor. But I think with the education, I would start with our kids, because if you're a sponge to me, and you're still learning. So while you're still learning, learn about this, because your best friend got it. Like I've talked to plenty of people. I'll just walk around. Hey man, anybody did that one day on purpose? Just walked around and, yeah, anybody with epilepsy, man? Yeah, my cousin has it, or my aunt used to have it, or da 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 da. Did you know what to do?
I believe that.
So, okay, that's the problem. He's only 18. Shouldn't he have gotten that education when he was in 10th grade? And that's late. That's being late. If you in 5th grade, you'd be like, oh, okay, my friend's having a seizure. I know to roll him on the side and time it, and all right, call the ambulance, and you know what I mean? Like, and you would be more calm about it, because they have let's just say they have those mannequins or whatever. You know how you take the CPR class, mannequins, and they push them down, show you how to do CPR. They could do that as well with epilepsy. All right, let's go through all the seizures. Let's just go through.
It's the truth, because I mean, even myself as a child with epilepsy, it was really interesting. I had a talk with a friend of mine not too long ago. Her poor mother is battling dementia, and they had put her mother on Depakote, and her poor mother was so over medicated, think like pretty much sedated, could not function. They had her up, and so they slowly brought her down and brought her off it. They finally got her with a better doctor, and she just vented. Poor thing vented on Facebook. She was so upset with what had happened to her mom, and her and I were talking, and I was explaining to her what to expect with her mom coming off of it, and she's like, well, how did you know so much about this? I said, I was on Depakote for 4 years. She was like, what? And I said, we've been friends all our lives. And I said, remember the time, from 12 to 16, remember in high school how for a long time I just didn't seem with it. I was withdrawing. You guys just didn't know why. I pretty much crawled into a shell. She goes, yeah. I go, that was because of Depakote. She went, oh my God. She goes, I would have never thought anything like that. And I go, at that time I was in such a dark place. I said, I didn't even know how to come to you and others to ask for help. I didn't even know what to do at that point. And I could tell in the way she felt bad that I hadn't. But, it was probably one of the first times. I mean, my friends have always had empathy for me and been supportive of me having epilepsy. But it was really the first time I could say it's almost like a light bulb went off, like, wow. Like she was able to connect and see the challenges that it brings, how powerful these medications can be.
So some of the things that you're saying is very much right. But if she would have known that in 5th grade, she would have been more receptive of you telling her that, because she would do research on that. There's nothing wrong with doing, a semester of that, 3 months of that, during a course. I mean, I'm pretty sure people are going to be like me and be like, oh, I hate school. I got to learn about epilepsy. I got to learn that. But people retain these things.
Yeah.
No, they don't like they retain it. So excuse me, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
They retain these things, and that's where we need to start. I know that's where we need to start, because there's no way that we can't that we should be in this predicament first because of lack of knowledge. So when we get the knowledge part going, now we can actually advocate.
Yeah.
Advocating it means something, because that fifth grader or that fourth grader knows exactly what we're talking about. That sixth grader knows exactly what we're talking about. Okay, well, my best friend now has, that they know what to do, instead of, oh God, call the ambulance and he shake and she, that's death.
Yeah.
That's
No, it's the
death.
truth.
Like, I mean, we're running a marathon. If people don't understand what seizures really are, there's like running a marathon in your body, every muscle in your body tenses up. That's on a bigger scale. You're like this close from a stroke when you're at a tonic-clonic seizure.
Oh yeah.
You're that close from having a stroke. And you could be half your body doing all this and that. See, that's how close we are to death. And that's where I'm with it right there. Like, people don't understand how close you get to death.
Oh
now,
yeah.
Not even, and I'm not downplaying any other seizures, any other syndromes, anything, but because they're this close to death. That's the thing that doesn't hit home to people. Oh, well, he's just going to have a seizure and he's just going to fall out and he's going to get back up. You don't know that.
Exactly. No, people don't understand what status epilepticus is. They don't understand. And I think so many people don't know that even things like SUDEP exist. I mean, because I've had a lot of people say to me, well, how have you lived so long then? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. With some of the severe seizures I've had, there's been somewhere I don't even know how I survived.
Right.
I really don't. There's somewhere hearing the stories of what I did and what happened, I'm thinking, man, I should be gone a long time ago. How am I still here?
Graces, blessing.
Yeah.
I ask myself that question so many times, and I go, well, why do you want me here? Because it seems like I've had these episodes a lot and I never go anywhere. So I just feel like I was already predestined to do this anyway. It's just that I didn't think I was going to do it, but I mean, it fell in my lap and I ran with it, and I love it. I couldn't tell you how much love I have for this. It's just, if I can be the voice of a million people, I'll do it, just because this isn't right. First of all, I've seen statistics, second of all, and third, nobody cares. So now that I care, we're just going to find people that care, and we're just going to link up and keep making more people care. And then as they get together and care, we're going to get this little community thing going, because it's slowly but surely, like you said, we can't do anything overnight, but we can start somewhere, and we can start together. It's really what we need to do. We need to start together.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you there. Is there anything else you would like to share with our supporters today?
Oh, how you doing? Stacii Floyd. We're going to do another epilepsy song, I promise. Upcoming album coming soon. A lot of things in the works coming soon. We're getting that platform together for you, so you can definitely go check that out. That's coming soon. So just definitely be prepared for a lot of different things in epilepsy and music as well. So I can be somewhat of a kind of a poster boy, I guess, of if I can do it, everybody can do it.
Oh, that's awesome. And when you release your new album, the song you release, please let me know about it and I'll have you back here on the channel as a guest, and we'll play a clip of the video so everybody else can see the work you're doing to help represent us.
Oh, no problem. Definitely, definitely. It was a pleasure talking to you, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Again, I want to thank Stacii for coming and taking part. To see the great work we are doing, please like our social media pages and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We invite you to visit our website at www.defeatingepilepsy.org to see how we are making a difference for the epilepsy community. Thank you for your support, and together we will defeat epilepsy. Take care.